was another busy week across the prairies where RCMP continued their tireless mission of reminding everyone that committing crimes in small towns is a bold strategy, considering half of the witnesses are probably your neighbor, cousin, or former hockey coach. Here's what's unfolded across the region this week. The Great Prairie Smokeout. RCMP and Lloydminster pulled over a semi-truck on February 22nd after the driver couldn't provide paperwork for the load, which is usually the first clue something interesting might be happening. Turns out the trailer wasn't hauling grain, cattle, or anything remotely normal. Instead, officers discovered 24 pallets of contraband tobacco, roughly 7.2 million cigarettes worth, and more than 6 million for the load. That's enough cigarettes to supply every coffee row in Saskatchewan till roughly Tuesday. A 62-year-old Calgary man now faces several charges, including fraud, unlawful possession of tobacco, and the truck and trailer, as well as the cargo, were seized, likely making this the largest anti-smoking campaign in RCMP history. Wrestling fans hit the mat. In another Lloydminster case, RCMP recovered a stolen Wrestling Hall of Fame ring after the suspect allegedly tried selling the stolen jewelry at a local store. Police arrested a 41-year-old man known to officers as a prolific offender, which in police terms means they've probably seen him more than some of their own family members. The ring has been recovered, although other stolen jewelry still remains missing. Authorities say the break-in targeted a trailer belonging to the Canadian Wrestling Elite, proving once again if you steal wrestling memorabilia in a small prairie city, it will eventually come back to body slam you. Lake Diefenbaker claims another pickup. Ice fishing season took another casualty last week when a GMC 2500 truck sank through the ice on Lake Diefenbaker. Recovery crews pulled the vehicle out after it encountered what experts describe as compromised ice conditions. For those of you keeping score at home, compromised ice is the kind that holds you up 1 minute and then decides it's done with that responsibility next. Officials remind anglers that just because the ice held yesterday doesn't mean it'll hold today, particularly when spring decides to RSVP early. Canada stops a global garbage run. In less local but impressive news, Canadian authorities intercepted more than 1.2 million kilograms of hazardous waste during a global enforcement operation. The seized shipments included e-waste, batteries, scrap metal, and other materials that apparently some thought would be fine to quietly ship overseas. Officials say the operation prevented 59 containers of hazardous waste leaving the country, which means Canada has officially stopped exporting its trash, at least the kind that fits into shipping containers. A stolen truck, impaired driver, and a head-on crash. A 29-year-old Bigger man is facing several charges while allegedly driving impaired in a stolen vehicle from Alberta, and then caused a head-on collision on Highway 14. Thankfully, the family in the other vehicle escaped serious injury. The driver now faces charges including impaired driving, possession of a stolen vehicle, and driving without a license, essentially completing the full prairie criminal traffic bingo card. Barbecue bandits strike in Fisk. Rosetown RCMP are investigating the theft of a custom barbecue trailer stolen from Fisk. Yes, a barbecue trailer. Police say surveillance shows a red pickup truck hauling the grill away. Authorities note that in rural Saskatchewan, a barbecue isn't just cooking equipment, it's community infrastructure. Without it, half the fundraisers in the region may have to switch to cold sandwiches. A Maple Creek man has been sentenced. A Maple Creek man received a 4-year sentence for charges including break and enter and failing to comply with court orders. After credit for time already served, he still has 596 days left in custody, plus a lifetime firearm prohibition and DNA order. Court records show that 11 additional charges were stayed or resulted in not guilty findings, proving even the justice system occasionally practices spring cleaning. Guns, drugs, and a youth arrest in Saskatoon. Police in Saskatoon seized a firearm, methamphetamine, and cash after executing an enforcement action at a residence. 4 people were charged, including a 12-year-old. Authorities recovered a carbine rifle, ammunition, and drugs during the investigation. Charges have been laid, but not yet tested in court. Mystery liquid warning in the Battlefords. Battlefords RCMP issued a warning after reports of a potentially hazardous liquid circulating in the community. Police also investigating several sudden deaths in the region, though it's not yet known whether they are connected. Authorities say residents should avoid consuming unknown drinks, a rule that normally applies at house parties, gas stations, and anything someone describes as a special mix. I don't know, folks, we might have to bring back that old song, Don't Put It in Your Mouth. Wildlife versus vehicles. Bigger RCMP responded to a collision involving a deer and a moose on Highway 14. The driver escaped without injury, though their pickup truck reportedly lost the fight. Police also handled a ditch crash involving an impaired driver, a semi stuck in the ditch, and a call involving a snowmobile and van on fire, which sounds less like a crime report and more like the prairie version of a demolition derby. Unity's RCMP weekly highlights. Unity RCMP reported an assault investigation, as well as a charge following a neighbor dispute, and a prohibited driver caught behind the wheel. Police also responded to calls involving a person walking along the highway, a suspicious door opening incident, and false alarms and false 911. In other words, a fairly standard week in small town policing. Police warn of sextortion targeting youth. Saskatchewan RCMP say they are receiving weekly reports of sextortion involving youth, where scammers convincing young people to share images before demanding money or more photos. Police are urging parents to talk with their children about online safety and remind them that strangers online are still strangers, even if they claim to be a 16-year-old hockey fan with suspiciously perfect grammar. Rosetown and Kyle RCMP. In the area, officers dealt with a tool theft, suspicious person calls, erratic drivers, and a truck that went through the ice on the South Saskatchewan River. Police also issued 13 traffic charges and responded to 2 911 misdials and 5 false alarms, which means this week included both crime and the prairie tradition of accidentally calling 911 while trying to unlock your phone. Macklin and Wilkie RCMP. Officers in Macklin charged a 52-year-old man with assault with a weapon, while another local man faces impaired driving charges. In Wilkie, police investigated 2 theft complaints and a dog attack involving another dog, proving once again that even prairie pets occasionally escalate neighborhood disputes. Overall, the week featured contraband cigarettes, barbecue theft, wrestling memorabilia, hazardous waste, wildlife conditions, ice fishing mishaps, and more than one truck discovering that ice thickness is more of a suggestion than a guarantee. Authorities continue to remind residents that if you see suspicious activity, report it to police, especially if someone is towing away your barbecue trailer. And here in Saskatchewan, that's practically a federal offense. I'm Jenny Hagan.